Okay, as I mentioned before, we were going to have a video that would show how to get rid of the air in the lines, because anytime you have a boiler system, especially a pressurized system, you're going to have air in the lines. And so I had to learn all of this because I'm an electrician by trade, so I didn't know how to do this, but internet is a fantastic thing, and the people that supplied the boiler, which we got into before, they helped me tremendously. So we're going to show you how to get rid of the air in the lines. So what we need to do is charge the system. And so the way the boiler is made is right here, you're looking at the whole system that goes to the floor. So this is the main portion of the house. And I've got 10 lines that go in and they all return. Now they're all 3/4 lines. So you can use 1/2 inch, but if you're using the same system we are, you want to use a 3/4 because there's less resistance in the pipe. So why do we need less resistance in the pipe? Because this system is working off of gravity. It's working off convection. So at the top is where all the hot lines are. So from the boiler itself, you've got the water going out the top because hot air rises, so hot water rises as well. And this pipe here that I'm holding on to, that works all of this system here. So the hot water comes out of here by gravity, by convection, pushes it out there without any pumps. This is the key. No pumps into this hot line. That hot line works all these pipes. There's 10 what we would call circuits, no more than 100 feet, because as soon as you take away pumps, it all has to just flow with the heat of the water. So the heat of the water keeps pushing it, pushes it through these lines. And you can see this second line in between the 1 and 2, it comes back. That's the return line off of the first one. And it comes back and goes into the cold return, and it drops down and into the bottom of the boiler. So the hot water goes out. As it cools, it wants to find a lower spot, so it'll travel back down to the lowest spot possible, and guess where that ends up? In the bottom of the boiler. So then you've got this circulation just continues as you heat the water up in the boiler. It takes about 30 gallons inside the boiler, and then there's a number of gallons outside. I haven't actually figured that part out, but there's about 30 gallons inside and around the firebox. And so as that heat, it pushes the heat up, and in a sense, it sucks the water back through because it's drawing that cold air or cold water down, pushing the hot water up. So you get that convection system with the hot water. It works just wonderful. But as we're saying, we want to get rid of the air in the lines because if there's air in the lines, it can block the flow of water. So we want to reduce that blockage of air, so we want to get rid of that. We're going to show you how to do a couple here. So we want to turn our pump on, and our pump is going to feed into the bottom. This is how we clear the line. We have a pump with glycol is what we're circulating in it, and we technically didn't really need glycol in here. It's a good idea to put a conditioner in for the pipes and the equipment itself, but that's for another story about the glycol. But we have glycol feeding into these lines, and it goes through. So what we do is we turn these two valves on, and that's the circulation for the pump. Well, we don't want the circulation to go through the whole system. We want it to go through one line at a time. So this is why we have valves in here. So this would be the valve for the return on the first line, and this is the pipe on the first line. So the way I've isolated this for now is over here, if you can see this valve here, that shuts off this whole system from the boiler itself. So we're not circulating through the boiler. All we're doing is circulating through the lines. So that is shut down. So water comes in the bottom, and there's also another valve down here I've got shut off, so the return cannot at this time go into the bottom of the boiler. So the water comes in here and goes up. Well, if I have all of these ones shut off, which I will, and I have just this one on, that pushes all the water through here and back through here and out to refill our water bucket upstairs. And so that's how we do it. So we do each line at a time, and I'm just going to show you two just so you get the idea. It's pretty basic, but we'll just run through two, and then I'll do this later on, because I've just drained the system. I was doing some work on it. I've just drained the system, so I want to make sure I haven't got any air in the lines again, so it functions at its top performance. So right now we're just going to go turn the pump on, and I'll be right back. So in the beginning of this process, we got to have a circulation of the glycol through this system. So we want to come through here, through the bottom, up through here, and take any of the air out. It'll push the air out through here. The air will come out here. Now, if we're fortunate, then you'll hear the air in this. And Judy, you might have to put the microphone or the camera up to this point to hear it. But we'll just see if we've got some air here. So we've done these ones here. Let's try this one here. Okay. Doesn't seem to be any air in there.
And everything's on. You've got this valve on.
Everything's on. This actually, I'll just mention this. I mentioned it in the other video. This is the pressure reducer. So when you're charging the system, this only allows 15 pounds of pressure in the system itself. That's without pressure release. And so we've got everything on. And it doesn't sound like we have air in that one, so we'll try this one. Do we have... I'm not hearing anything coming through there. And I have water coming through the system. I can hear it upstairs. This return line through the system is being pushed back into the container upstairs. I can hear that. So we do have water flowing. So this one looks like it's good. Good. Okay, so that's it. We've got all the air out of the lines. And what that'll do is it'll allow the maximum water flow through these lines and keep the concrete warm. And that makes a beautiful warm house, not like a central heating, like a wood stove in the middle of your house where all the outside of the house is all cold. This way you have a warm floor everywhere you are. So now, as we're going to take this all apart, we're going to shut this valve off here, and that isolates our water from our hoses and keeps all water filled in this line. And of course we're all charged here, so we're going to shut this one off, and that's that part. Now,
and this stays open.
This can stay open. However, I do shut this off because that keeps water out of this. This is only used when you're charging the system. It reduces the pressure in the system to 15 pounds. So I'm not too worried about that. The system has been running and it's just runs great without that being in. And this one here, of course, now that we're isolated from our hoses, we can turn this back on, and that will allow the cold water to go back into the bottom of the boiler. But here I'm going to turn this one back on, and that then the whole system now is connected. Of course, the garage system, we're not using that presently because it's not that cold out. So I've got this one off, and there's also a valve down at the bottom right through here. This is the valve that you can see right there. That's the valve for the garage. And so that part of the system is off for now. Now over here, Judy, if you want to just take the camera over here, I've done this system, this part of the system. This is the second output right here. So we have the main house output right here for hot water, and this is the garage floor heating as well. So this one goes out, and the hot goes up here, and you can see it goes out and comes back. I thought I was going to put a few more circuits in there, but we didn't need that quite that many in the garage when it all came down to it. So so that's all your outlets into the garage. These are all the returns, and I've already taken the air out of that part of the system. And the neatest part about this system is we have put a dog, we call it
The bunkie.
the bunkie, dog bunkie. We cut into the garage a house for them to come into, and our outside line, we have an outside line that runs along the outside of the house on that side of the house. That's where the dog bunkie is. And so they can come in there, and I can just have that line on just so they can, that's this one on the extremity of the house. I can just have that one on, and that will just go underneath the doghouse and keep it just a little warmer, because we get like -30, -35 here Celsius. It's pretty cold even for the animals, and our dogs are outside dogs, so that's what we do for them, so they are a little warmer in the winter. Also, the beauty of this system is we didn't know how warm this would get our garage, just this. But just the boiler itself, because there's glycol all around the firebox, you're not getting all the heat out of it. A lot of the heat is going into the house. So we're not actually getting the amount of heat as you would a wood stove. So we didn't know how much heat we'd need in the garage. But as it turned out, even with 30 below, this kept the garage warm enough where we did not even need that. So if people end up living in this garage one day, we'll be able to warm it up. But it is nice that we'll be able to have that outside circuit for the dogs and keep the dogs warm as well, because we used to bring them in before we had that running in this way. We like to have them contained outside. So that's it for this video, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you like it, hit the like button, and we love to hear your stories on what you're doing out there, because we believe that one day we're not going to have a lot of power. So this system has been devised so we can not have any pumps in order to have a warm house. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for another video down the road.